This is the Long War. I'm Rob Baer, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher and Wyatt Turk. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Yeah, what's up?
Are we? I lost track of how many podcasts we've done. Are we in the 460? Are we coming up on how long till we hit five? We're gonna hit 500
It's,
this year. Is that
yeah,
a thing?
I think so. Yeah, we're gonna hit 500 this year.
Wow.
Tight.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll have to do something cool for that.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Hopefully, mustache related.
Yeah. Oh,
Absolutely.
that could
mustache
be.
related.
Maybe that's the day. Maybe we show up and we all have mustaches.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get Rob like a merkin mustache, like
Here's
a
what I'm thinking.
toupee.
For the next few months, when you trim your beard, save the trimmings. I'll do the same. Then we mail them to Rob, and then he uses, and he uses
I
a
don't
glue,
need you.
yeah, glue stick, and that way it's.
Hold on. I think there was like a jackass bit like this that went horribly awry. I don't think we should do that.
Kenny, there is an important question. We'll just since this one's about money and we like money, right?
I'm a big fan. Yeah,
So somebody wants to know what's the best way to support the podcast.
probably just Patreon in general. If you're looking for monthly,
Oh, yeah.
if you're just trying to support us on a semi-regular basis, hit the Patreon. If you're like independently wealthy and you're looking to write us like some secret check for like $1 million, just email Rob.
Oh, we'll figure out how to lessen the tax implication for everyone.
So
We'll
okay,
figure it out.
let me see if I can keep us somewhat on task because Rob has done this amazing thing tonight.
I am the drama.
He is, bro. I love that. The Grimdark History of 40k's Imperium of Man is actually our title, and we have multiple topics we want to discuss tonight: exploring the lore, historical perspective, thematic discussion.
Well, we have a
characters.
whole.
Yeah, if we get to them all, we get to them all. You know what I mean? Speculations and theories. I love this. And Rob is our lore master. He was the quiz master for Debticon for years. So we actually do have, we've got the lore guy, we've got the paint guy, we've got the fucking play guy, right? So we got all the shit covered here tonight. So once again, we're trying to use a Q&A format. So anyone who's watching, if you're driving on your way to work, you're not gonna say me shit to you. But feel free to just like Q&A up in chat, ask questions, try to make them visible, like maybe at Long War or something like that, whatever platform you're on. And Rob's gonna do his best to grab those joints, throw them in our show notes, and we're gonna try to get to them at the end of the show.
Like a peasant.
He says like a peasant, but like some of the most innovative things that have ever happened in our market were because Rob was doing some gangster peasant shit. So
somebody was I was on a meeting with somebody the other day and they're like, so you're like the Dr. Dre of the hobby. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, you're the dude that's just like, people think he's like not doing anything, but he's like behind the scenes making it all work.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that's a pretty good analogy.
Yeah. Rob
basically the same
Rob
person.
and Dr. Dre are the same person. I've never seen them in the same room at the same time.
Instead of Beats by Dre, it's Ads by Spiky Bits.
You got it. That's exactly it.
Okay, so in the spirit of trying to stay on topic,
Yes.
using our new and improved show notes and timer, let's roll out to the Cave of Wonders into our Peabody Award-winning segment with Wyatt Turk and Touch Nothing But the Lamp.
Would you rather once a week be attacked by a bear the size of a small dog, or there's a Bigfoot constantly trying to get into your house to use the bathroom?
Once a week, like, is it always going to be like spaced exactly 7 days and I kind of know the timing?
No, it's just once a week.
It's an ambush, so sometimes it can be like back-to-back days if they want to keep me on my toes.
No, it can only be once a week. So it can't be on a Tuesday, then the following Wednesday. It's once a week.
Once a week.
I think we're overlooking the most important question, and that is, where is he going to use the bathroom at in the house?
How big is Bigfoot?
That is the question, Rob. He's a Sasquatch. Like, he's a Bigfoot.
Is he like the size of Hattie or Bjornsson?
So
what's the average size of a Pacific Northwestern Sasquatch?
I'd have to ask Chad. Doesn't Chad know this stuff?
Like 8 feet tall, like bigger than like a space marine. They're like a space marine.
Now, is he going to use the toilet, or is he just going to shit where he's got shit?
Right.
I guess it depends on
how is he going to use?
I'll say this: it depends on your definition of Sasquatch lore. Like, how sentient are they?
They're
Is
hella
he
sentient. They're
is
like,
he an orangutan or is he
no,
like
he's
a
a
dude
dude.
with a lot of hair?
Dude with a lot of hair.
Are we? I mean, but like, did I have to squat to pee? Did I can it
I
stand up to
I mean,
pee?
that's the
If he
mystery,
weighs
Maze.
700 pounds and he's like 9 feet tall, like I'm about to do some reinforcement.
Yeah, you might have to like brace the floors, dude.
I would go with Sasquatch shits in my house. And I would have to make some modifications, but I would invite him into my home and I would make sure he'd have a bathroom. And I know he's smart and I know he might not be able to read like English, but he can understand science. And I'm going to have like, like fucking the toilet for him. No one else is going to use it. It's going to be his. Like, I'm going to give him a place to go shit, man. Cause I understand like being a hobo. This guy's hard out there to find a toilet. You know what I mean? He's basically just a wandering dude, just out in the woods, man. He just wants
Like
a
a
nice,
deer.
he just wants a nice toilet every now and then. I'll hook him up.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm not, and like you say, it's a bear the size of a small dog,
Yeah.
and it's trying to murder me.
It's just attacking you, yeah.
Like it's trying to fuck me up.
Yeah.
Like
But
Dude,
I mean,
tiny
like,
dogs are vicious.
the thing
yeah,
is,
but
I'm not
yeah,
afraid of it hurting me. The thing I'm afraid of is like I'd have to like straight up like stomp it to death every week for my rest of my life. I can't handle that.
Mm.
There's no way my conscience could deal with that. Just obliterating this small bear every week, dude, and it magically re-attacking me every 7 days. That would kill me, dude. It's not like the
I don't know.
chicken. The chicken scenario is easy.
Yeah.
Like, fuck it. It's a chicken, dude. He's a rooster. You know what I mean? Those guys are dicks anyway.
I'm just gonna go with Bigfoot because I don't know if y'all ever saw that show like Harry and the Hendersons.
I do
Big
remember
fan.
that
Big
movie.
fan.
Yeah, like,
I actually met the guy who wrote it.
oh nice. I feel like that's what it would be. Just a nice friendly guy, just gonna be respectful, not destroy the toilet with his weight and girth.
Like,
Or
I
look,
mean, you're betting a lot on the disposition of a squatch.
I am.
Uh,
I'm willing to take that bet.
Okay.
I mean maybe just turn the water off just before, there'll still be water in the bowl, so it'll be fine. That way if pipes don't break and go everywhere, I don't know.
But I'm gonna go all in on the Squatch bathroom. Like,
Squatch bathroom.
yeah, fuck yeah. Like, it's not gonna. It's gonna be a special bathroom for him. I'm gonna spend money on this.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? But that's a good one. That reminded me of something. Oh yes, I need to bring this up. I have 1 minute to bring this up. So
What's that?
recently, I was discussing something with my lady, and I was like, "Have you ever had this like fantasy where you're like maybe like driving, and maybe you're like going over an overpass? Maybe it's kind of like a city, but you know how like sometimes you go over an overpass and there's like a bunch of bushes and trees. It's just in the middle of the city. You know what I mean? Like maybe a little water feature, and then you keep going. There's some houses. Have you ever just like looked at those bushes and been like, I could live there?
No.
I mean, there's been a couple times like I've scouted out a few spots, like
I mean,
in the
have
clover
you
leaves.
looked at a yeah? You know what I'm talking about? You understand what I'm saying? Like you've seen those spots. If you looked at those spots and be like, y'all can
You're
make
like nobody would ever look there.
yeah,
Like
you can
could
live
just,
there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not the only one who's had that fantasy.
No, sometimes you have to.
Okay,
Sometimes you gotta have a backup plan, man.
see, my lady is fully on Team Wyatt here. Like, what the fuck did you just say?
Like, I can get like if you want to go to maybe do like a national park
No,
and just be like
the
camp.
overpass,
That's your new
cloverleaf,
that's your new
bush.
life. I get that. Live off the land a little bit, but like a fucking bush under an overpass in a city. Like, no.
I mean,
But Rob, you understand me, right? That desire.
there's a whole like homeless camp here in town between
I'm not even
one
talking about the
shopping
homeless
center
camp. I'm
and the
talking about
Walmart.
I'm a man with a house and a car and a credit card, and I'm like, I'd live in that bush.
I mean, I know where they're. I was like, oh, that's a great spot. It's like a nice little like area between. Nobody's gonna fuck with you between two big shopping, Walmart, and there's gonna be like choice
Or at the
finds from
very
like
least, set up like a dope clubhouse there that sometimes you sleep in.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I
All
don't,
right,
I don't
good.
understand it.
All right. So Rob, you understand me. At least I have the same thing. Okay, let's move on. Thank you for entertaining that nonsense. I just needed to get that out there. Let's kick it over to Rob Baer for the Memorial News Desk as we're on the eve of LVO. What's up, Rob?
Hey everybody, it's great to be here. I can't wait to fly out to LVO tomorrow to hang out with everybody
Yo,
Big
you're
news.
fucking with
It's
people right
huge.
now.
and see you guys, see
Excited.
everybody tomorrow.
Like 8 people already asked me if we were going to be there. I was like, it's only been 5 years. He's not coming.
No, but what I will be doing, I will be taking a nap in the middle of the day, because at midnight there's the preview, and I'll have to stay up from I don't know, like 11 to like 3 a.m. and then wake up at 4 a.m. to do my normal work. It'll be great. It's fine. That's what we do here. We just
I like how you're willing to do that, but you won't get on an airplane.
That's different. That's
It's
a
the
different kind of
wildest shit to
stress.
me. I know, like I get it. Like you're scared of flying. Like I totally get it. It's just like
I like flying. I just don't like
if I had a choice between like going on an overnight flight where I knew I would
You
get
just
like
said you liked
air
flying. That
air
is not.
conditioning, blanket, food, booze, a movie to watch, or like just staying up until like 4 a.m. to do work. Be like, bro, I'll just fly.
I don't like I just don't like being at the whimsy being in a tube where you can't see nothing, being at the whimsy of who knows what's going on out there. And maybe you'll catch your flight at the right time. Maybe you'll get your connector at the right time. Maybe you won't be stranded in Omaha. Who knows? Like, I just, all of that is terrible.
I feel like I'm a great example of dispelling. I've
Do you
never
get like
once
a lot of?
missed
Do you
a
get like
connecting
travel
flight.
anxiety? Is that what it is? Is it just travel anxiety?
No, I mean, I drive like 15 hours to Adepticon
Is
every
it
year. It seems like.
flying travel anxiety, not driving travel anxiety?
I think it's just I don't like the turbulence and I don't like not knowing what's going on, I guess. I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. I mean, I'm not the only one that doesn't like flying. I mean, obviously Madden's a big example, so I don't have to explain myself.
I know, but it's fun to make fun of you.
I mean, there's way easier things to make fun of me for at this point than something normal like that.
What if I
uh,
told you that planes aren't real? It's actually an underground tram system, and what you see out the windows is a pre-recorded
no,
piece of footage,
that
and you
does
don't
not.
actually fly through the air because there's sky monsters up there. We gotta avoid them.
That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, it makes as much sense as you want it to be.
The Earth is flat. This is what he's
Well,
getting
let me
at.
do some limited news, I suppose. The excuse me. So we had a bunch of rules changes. Obviously, none of them are in effect for LVO, um, because the cutoff date has already happened. I don't know if that's something that we're going to run down later in the show or not, but just be aware that there was some balance update stuff. There was some FAQ stuff. The Grotmus stuff got up. 5 of the Grotmus detachments got updated. We got all of it written up over on Spiky Bits, so you can dig through, the FAQs and such on GW or all the PDFs and things. But there is some stuff to talk about. All right, so a lot of things are changing in the business world now. Fortunately, Games Workshop got everybody squared away with these Deathcore boxes because I think that was a very high interest thing. Didn't hear nobody wasn't able to get them that wanted them, which is great because there's a lot of retailers out there that were not happy with the way last year went in regards to Games Workshop allocations. And it's not just GW either, y'all. Like, I don't know who's into Pokemon,
Me.
but there ain't no Pokemon in America. So Pokemon is dry right now.
Yeah,
Super,
we'll
super
get a
dry.
game one of these years. Ready for the gun type to come out? That's gonna be like it's gonna shake up the meta.
What's that?
It's
Pokemon
the new
gun
type
type.
of it's the American typing of Pokemon.
Oh,
That's Digimonster. They had gun type.
And
oh, I don't know nothing
they were
about that.
sick.
Digimon slide.
Well,
Like Blastoise, he shoots like water cannons, right? The fucking
Yeah.
Digimon Blastoise shoots like cannons. Like,
Uh yeah, I'm gonna defer to you guys. You are the Pokemasters. as far as as far as all that goes. Um so yeah, I mean there's opportunities for stores, which is great out there to make money right now, but it's been a rough 2025. Speaking of that, on the distribution and wholesale side, Diamond Comics announced yesterday in the middle of the day that they're filing for Chapter 11 protection. And you're probably wondering why I don't give a shit about comic books. Okay, well that's cool. The problem is that a lot of game stores, comics are basically, yes, you can get digital stuff. Yes, either Marvel or DC will give the new releases out either a month or 3 months after release, but comics are an easy way for game stores to make money because everybody just has their preferences and they have their subscriptions and they have their pull boxes and it's guaranteed money
exactly.
every month. The problem is that since 2020, there was 40, well, back to the 90s, there was basically a monopoly, and it was Diamond Comics, and they controlled the distribution of comic books. Then 2020 rolled around, a bunch of stuff happened, things changed, everybody kind of bailed, and there was no exclusive anymore. 4 years later, Diamond files for protection. The other problem, the compounding problem, the twin problem to this, is that Alliance Game Distribution is a sister company of Diamond Comics. And
Oh
now
shit.
there has been also a bid made for them. They're not in any trouble per se, but the problem is that they're attached at the hip, so to speak. Um, Last I knew, they were all owned
And
corporately
Alliance
over
is how a lot of people get their minis and stuff through,
Alliance.
not
Yes,
when you're not going through GW in
right.
Games Workshop terms, but a lot of people, it's Alliance getting their minis.
So Alliance is a distributor for brands such as Steam 40k's Games, the Army Painter. They're a wholesaler for brands such as Games Workshop, Monument Hobbies, Magic, Pokemon, all the card games, all the paints. I think they have Vallejo, but Vallejo has been so hard to get in the States for so many number of years. I'm just gonna stop talking about them because they're basically irrelevant at this point. Um, so there's interesting things happening right now. So keep an eye on it because it might be a little bit tougher. Anytime there's a regime change, which there's probably going to be a buyout, an
You said Chapter
acquisition,
11 protection?
right? So
Is that the
they're
one where you
continuing,
keep your business?
right? You keep it, you're restructuring, and you're trying to pay off your debt, blah 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 blah. So whenever there's a regime change, there's going to be changes. It's going to trickle down to the consumer, to the business, to the business level. So I don't know how it's all going to shake out, and I don't think anybody knows. But it's going to be big. It's going to be big. They're basically the biggest single distributor of this stuff out there. I guess second would probably be Lions Rampart in Canada. Um, but it's more to come on that one. Also, the Nova Open Charitable Foundation, which I guess technically it's not the Nova Open Charitable Foundation. I guess it's the NOCF because since the Nova sold, because Brant went to Games Workshop, they weren't allowed to call it the Nova Open. OCF will continue in any capacity that it was. So, um, is the did he turn off the I thought he just turned off his screen. I think it's fine.
Oh yeah. Sure, he'll be back.
Or maybe not. Everybody's saying rip. I don't know. I'm just gonna keep talking because somewhere it's getting recorded.
Mm.
As far as that goes. So that is I guess it froze when you shut it down. That's fine. Um so besides that, we know that Death Course coming out will be the 25th, and we know that this week is going to be on Saturday. Is going to be Old World pre-orders along with some Horse Heresy stuff. So, and we'll probably get some pretty good previews at the LBO this week. So by the time you hear this, they might already have dropped. They might already be dropping, but excited for those as well. Looks like a pretty decent lineup. Hopefully, as far as that goes, I don't know. What are you excited to see, Wyatt?
Reviews
Preview
wise,
wise, yeah.
I mean, like, I'm always hyped for new 40k shit.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, some Emperor's Children could be cool. Uh, I don't know what it is. They showed off something for Necromunda, some
Oh
kind of
yeah,
like centipede monster thing. I'm like, I kind of want to see what that is. That might look cool.
they didn't
I,
say it was Necromunda though,
yeah, who knows what it is? I mean,
because it
like,
could be that spider thing that's supposedly supposed to have been coming out for AOS like years ago or
all
whatever.
right, yeah, something should be cool. Uh, I think that's about it for right now. I mean,
You guys talk about LVO preview. Sorry, I had to step away for one
yeah,
second. We had an emergency.
Yeah, is there a
Yeah.
beard emergency?
No, it was so my lady was calling me and I didn't hear her. And then I went down after she came up. She, I guess, lost her cell phone in the washing machine
Hmm.
and needed me to get it out for her because she's 4'11" and she can barely reach inside the washing machine. And it was all still wet and the clothes are super heavy. So I'm soaked in washing machine fluids. Found the
Is it
phone.
is it okay? Did
Still
you
works.
put it?
It's fine. It didn't even turn off.
Huh?
These bitches are waterproof these days, I guess.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Wild. Who knew?
Sorry, so I miss the news. Oh no. But did you freeze or something? I'm reading through chat.
I don't know. I think it's fine. I think we're back.
That's good.
Um, we basically got to. Oh, I guess we should talk about LV. Frontline Gaming is taking used miniature submissions. They'll send you a call tag and stuff, and they'll donate the proceeds to the wildfire relief in
Oh,
California.
like they'll take donations of miniatures, sell them, take the
Yeah,
proceeds, send them to.
it's on their Facebook page. Sure, we'll probably do a write up on it too. But yeah, just get in touch with them. Donate any spare models, painted or unpainted. Every piece counts. Request a free shipping label or send models directly to Frontline Gaming. We'll inventory and match donations to gamers in need. Share this post. Um, yeah. So they'll write ups over there.
Well, that's good. Shout out to them.
Yeah, it's super clutch.
So are we okay? We're falling behind schedule. That's okay. Are we good with the news?
Yeah,
All right. So
yeah, news is good.
let's take a quick little commercial break so then we can talk about the meat and potatoes Grimdark history. And we're back. So we got a cool topic to discuss tonight. But also as a reminder, anyone who's listening in real time, feel free to ask any questions, Q&A, AMA style. Rob will throw them in at the end, and we'll try to answer any Q&As as we get to them. We're all going to LVO this weekend. You heard Rob say he was flying. So,
Yep.
okay. Grimdark history. Rob, I think we all know a little bit about it because we've been in the game for so long, but
Well, it does change a bit.
it does, right? And I think that a lot of us get stuck in like, because I don't read anything, but I read, except my codexes. So then, like, my lore is all like from piecemeal, right? Like from codexes. So,
Hmm.
exploring the lore. And I'm going to throw this one out there. What are the most defining moments in Warhammer 40k lore that have shaped the Imperium of Man? That's an important question. I think everyone can answer that. Actually, that's actually a good starter. So, Rob, what for you at least? What's the most defining moment in Warhammer 40k that shaped the Imperium of Man?
I mean, probably the heresy. I mean, definitely put it on the course that it's that now. I mean, there's been other stuff here and there in between, but like more recently, the Great Rift, I suppose. the Indominus era and such. But yeah, I mean, the daddy issues heresy probably the biggest one.
I mean, it's a pretty big question. I was
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
it's kind of a
I mean, the heresy, obviously,
yeah.
heresy shaped the Imperium of Man as we know it today. But like, Wyatt, what within the heresy? Is there any moment that is like the most hype moment that you
Oh
feel like?
man. Um, I mean, like probably the defense of the palace on Terra. Because I mean, like, I kind of
Yeah,
checked out of the Horus Heresy when it got to like, I don't know how
A
15,
million
16
books.
books.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
like
there's like
It's like
36
whatever
60,
books.
dude.
whatever
Yeah.
happened in that room, right? Like
And
when
so
when
like
Sanguinius showed up.
yeah, like I got
Yeah,
back to the Siege of Terra because that was like beginning, middle, end kind of closed story, and that was pretty hype.
right.
So I mean, like, yeah, the defense of Earth is like some of the most like legendary mythical moments in 40k's made up history.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, like I agree. Like I remember, like I mean, that's what I grew up on those moments. Like, what's the massacre? Istvan 5.
Yeah.
Is that like
Yeah.
that's a big turning point, and then Sanguinius showdown with Horus, right? Like however that played out, it could have gone
I mean, we all know how it played out.
I mean, we know the end. We don't
right.
know like
But you know how much speculation over the years. We've been playing this game for a long time, and
yeah.
there's stories and stories, long before the Horus Heresy novels came out.
Hmm.
And
We didn't
you,
have the way to know before the novels.
like there was like two major like theories when I was coming up in this hobby. And it was for the Blood Angels perspective, their personal chapter propaganda is that without Sanguinius weakening Horus, the Emperor wouldn't have won. That's why they're super important and their daddy is the best, right? Like, but then there's this other theory, which is Sanguinius knew he couldn't win and but was he was one of those beloved brothers. Like Horus is his dude, man. And he's like, I can't even let him talk because if I give him a second to talk,
Yeah.
he'll convince me because that's how close this is. You know what I mean? This razor's edge of thinking, like where he's coming from, I can kind of see it. So I have to kind of like suicide myself on Horus. So it's like, which is it? You know what I mean? And I remember for like 20 years, it was just like that. You know what I mean? Like so it's a hype ass moment. Like Defense of Terror. That's a good answer, Wyatt. Like, how did the Emperor's vision for humanity evolve into the Imperium we see in 40k? I have no idea. What, Rob? Like, I don't know. What was this vision? I don't even.
Well, his vision was him running shit.
Seems
Yeah.
And
right.
like
Seems
it
right.
would be like secular,
No,
you know,
Yeah. Like yeah.
but
Exactly. No.
so he doesn't
No
want.
central.
No, he doesn't want. There's no gods. There's no religion, except he knows there are gods, and that he wants the religion to be worship him as a god.
I get like I'm hazy on the exact because like the emperor in the books
He
is
didn't want
like
he didn't want them to worship him as a god. That's why he got mad at the word bearers.
yeah, and so like originally the first iteration of the Inquisition was there to be like all you nerds doing church, stop it. Like there's not going to be any churches. Like they hunted
Yeah.
down what's her face because she was like the first prophet, and they were like no. Um, and she had some cool moments in the Siege of Terra, like
So is it
stuff.
like just irony that it's
Are you
become
talking
like,
about Keeler?
I think that's her name, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
she's all the way,
Frady.
yeah, she's like all the way back in the beginning of the series, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, the
Yeah.
thing
She
is that
was
like they kind of portray it like the ideal of the Imperium is that like religion is bad, gods aren't real, secular, all that kind of stuff. But then there's like so many instances of like, well, it turns out if I pray to the emperor and I believe it, demons just fucking die in front of you, right? Like you could just banish them, or like they can't hurt you, or all sorts of miraculous things happen. And so people, it starts off of just like, well, this works. So we'll just do that. And then over time, it morphs into a full church.
So it's like the irony of his vision.
Yeah, there's definitely some irony there,
So like
unfortunately.
that means like the God Emperor, right? Like so like the faith is the God Emperor, and that sustains the Imperium. Like at this point, which was like kind of the opposite of the
Yeah,
message
and
he was
like
trying to get
in like
across.
I'd say in like the smallest of ways, yeah. And then you have it ramps in scale, right? Because you have like Sisters of Battle and they have acts of faith where like if they pray hard enough and believe, they can just like take a Baneblade round to the chest and shrug it off, right?
Yeah,
Um, or then you have the Astronomicon, where it's like, well, if we just keep hucking psychers into this furnace to keep the Emperor's brain going, we have this beacon that's like the lighthouse in the warp that lets us navigate everywhere.
Well,
brutal.
except for the rift
Which
now.
which brings us into like why is the Imperium of Man considered both humanity's savior and oppressor? Previous statement.
Well, yeah, so like part of the um
Yeah.
trying having a brain fart trying to think the part of the satire of the Imperium of Man is that it's like this autocratic fascist regime, but it's like the only thing standing between like the extinction of humanity in that by the hands of like aliens and the demons and all that stuff, right? Um, so like in many ways, like yes, like it is incredibly impressive or oppressive, where you have little tidbits of stories. Like I remember I forget the source, but I remember like a very small thing where like this one guy had to wait in line for like 56 years to like get some kind of unitorum appointment to like
Yeah.
for some like nothing thing where you have like these queues like in the bureaucracy cities of Terra where people like just wait in line for generations. Like that's their job. It's just to like hold a place in line for generations because it's like so incredibly like slow and messed up and convoluted.
Man, that's messed up.
And I've
That's
also seen stuff recently that were like, I think it was attributed to one of the Black Library authors where it's been making the rounds on social media that like statistically the Imperium controls so many worlds and there's so many people that like on average your imperial citizen's life is they're hanging out on a world that's terraformed, that has infrastructure, everything's pretty chill. They work their job, have their family, live their life, and then die. And they never have seen a space marine or an alien or a demon or war at all, right? But the idea of in the grim darkness there is only war and the armies of the Imperium is standing between you and utter annihilation is like propaganda to keep everybody in lockstep.
That makes sense. Actually,
it's,
yeah.
it's not what he wanted it to be, and that's why when Bobby G came back, he's like, "The hell, guys!"
I mean,
That's a
even
that's a
somewhere
pretty
like
monumental moment, you know.
oh yeah,
In
yeah.
Lionel too.
Lion. Historic perspective, okay? What see it's funny, I was just thinking that like what Wyatt was just saying, I was like, that's some historical relevance, right? What key events from the Great Crusade continue to influence the Imperium today? And um further to that, like I don't even know if that's a question here, but like uh what like seems like it's drawn from some real historical precedents, right?
Well, they eh, sort of. I mean, they kind of did the Alexander the Great thing with Lord Solar Macarius, so that was kind of supposed to be that. The Great Crusade itself, I think, was more maybe more like reclaiming. I don't want to say the Holy Lands, but it's kind of definitely some comparison with the Crusaders in medieval times, I suppose. But
But just I mean, but within the lore too, though, they're still doing shit right now that's based on this principle that's affecting them today, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I'd say probably the biggest one is the creation of space marines. Because like the creation of like the only thing that let the Great Crusade be a thing, right? Beyond
Yeah.
the Emperor like unifying Earth, taking 100% control of Earth, all of its resources and population to create the fleet of ships to launch the Great Crusade is the creation of Space Marines. It couldn't have happened otherwise. And
No.
so even now,
Well, no, you needed the ships too. You had to do the Pax
with
Pax
Mars,
Mechanicus,
yeah, and all that. But like, you know, if it weren't for the Great Crusade, then you wouldn't have the Horus Heresy. You wouldn't have like the Loyalist chapters of Space Marines and the Chaos Space Marines constantly trying to do shit. Like, so I mean, like that might be the biggest one.
So
The
how did
funny
they?
thing is, I
Sorry,
think
Rob.
the Great Crusade. I think the Great Crusade lasted. Which one was longer, the Great Crusade or the taking back Earth? I want to say taking back Earth took longer than the Great Crusade to the point of the Horus Heresy.
Yeah, it might have. It's like it's a different order of magnitude, right? Because he had to start with the Emperor basically being like, all right, time to get this shit going, kind of starting from scratch. And then, you know, building the infrastructure of war, taking ground, reconsolidating, building up again, doing that again and again and again until you have like kind of the final wars where you have Custodes and the Thunder Warriors. And then like you take kind of like the last holdout and then everything is unified and then they go from there.
What's the most catastrophic decision made by the Imperium's leadership?
It's a catastrophic decision.
Was it so like
Oh, they're about the same.
Chaos ran into the Eye of Terror at the end of the heresy because they knew they wouldn't pursue them, right?
Yeah, partially, I think so. It's kind of the only place they could go.
No, and then the Cadian Gate protects that, right? Like that's to keep them from coming back out.
It
right?
used to. Yeah, it used to.
Well, still sort of.
So what? So is there a leadership error that led like, in between those two phenomenons? Like, should have they just gone in after him, or should have they? I mean, Katie was.
Well, remember there was still like a lot.
Oh,
of
I know what the most catastrophic
planets
leadership
that.
failure is. Magnus.
How so?
Fucking
Oh yeah, that goes all the way to the top.
Magnus. Him warning the Emperor using sorcery, which is different than what they do, and then the Emperor being like, "Fuck this guy." Hey, Space Wolves, go fuck this guy. That is the most catastrophic decision. Because now at that point, Magnus is like, well, fuck y'all. Like, me and
Well,
Horus, we're doing this thing.
there's some depths there, but I think one of the biggest things was maybe him not telling people about chaos. Like he knew because he got some of his power.
But that's the whole story, right? The whole story is he knew. Well, you mean Magnus or the Emperor? Because the Emperor knew about
The
chaos.
emperor,
Yeah.
the emperor
So,
didn't tell any of
he's
them.
nefarious. That was his whole move, right? So his whole move as the leader is I'm not telling everyone everything.
Right. Well, I mean,
So
leaders
obviously, if
don't
he
do
told
that.
everyone everything, we'd have a completely different fucking story
Well, yeah, that's true too.
for sure. But you're right. Like if the Emperor didn't lie to everyone constantly,
Made
that's
by the Imperium's
pretty
leadership.
pretty catastrophic. But I'm thinking in terms of Horus because you know it's such a significant event, the Horus Heresy.
I mean, you could say that.
What if
like,
Magnus was on the
the-
side of the Imperium? What if Magnus and the Space Wolves worked together to fucking fight Horus?
Yeah, it'd be a big deal. They probably would never even made it to the palace
Nah.
because of all of the
Get fucked.
wards, you know.
Or
If the
even
Em-
what if Sanguinius went bad?
I mean, sure, but that wasn't a mistake, right? Like the mistake was
Oh, this mistake.
is like you knew about fucking these, you knew about this shit Emperor, and you were like, I need to make an example of this guy and have him executed, and have his whole homeworld burned. Well, that guy's not gonna work for me anymore. Like that guy's not on my side anymore after this.
Well, that's
You
kind of
could
why you
also
had the
say
Space
that like
Wolves.
allowing the ecclesiarchy to take such power in the government could be a pretty bad one.
Yeah.
kind of like that's. I mean, I think that might also be part of the larger satire of 40k of like kind of a warning showing what could happen if you don't have separation of church and state.
Good one. Now, this is a good one. What are the consequences of the Imperium's reliance on psychers and the Astronomicon? Consequences.
Well, I mean,
Well,
every time that shit goes down, they're like, "What
it's
do we do?"
yeah. I mean, it's harder and harder. What is it? 1,000 a day they have to sacrifice.
Something like that. Yeah.
They have to go get them.
I mean, you could also say because of their reliance on that, there's no drive to innovate new technologies. Part of that's like the mechanicum, like you have like
Yeah, that's
the
never been a
real
thing.
the mechanicum orthodoxy. Well, I mean, like during the Great Crusade, they were coming up with new shit all the time, right? And it
Yeah,
wasn't until you have the like kind of like the Dark Age following the Emperor's death, where the orthodoxy of the mechanicum is like no new shit is heresy, like keeping it all the same, right? With the only exceptions being discovering STCs. But if they never started relying on the Astronomicon, then they could have innovated. Because I mean, like you probably are more instant recall on the heresy era stuff, but like there was no Astronomicon during the Great Crusade. So like, how did they navigate the war?
they just figured it out.
Yeah,
Those
so like
navigators.
I
Yeah.
guess like the technology has been lost or something like because I mean like they were doing just fine.
Well, I think there was an Astronomicon, but it wasn't powered by the Emperor somehow. Actually, I'm not sure. Was there? Hmm.
No,
Because
there was
like I
something,
think
right?
part of
Like
the Siege of Terra was the Dark Angels like defending that mountain complex where the machinery for something like that was housed, but I don't remember.
didn't like something happen, something monumental to where like you could no longer gaze upon the Astronomicon. Like it was like there was like a day where that stopped being a thing, and now it had to be this other way.
I honestly don't remember.
Got it. No, I
All
know.
right, like I
I
never
think.
read the.
Hold on.
Let's
That was the one that attracted the Tyranids to the galaxy supposedly in Pythos or whatever. The I think it is.
yeah.
It was. It yeah. It did.
Kara Quinn brings up they dealt with AI before, so like they used to have AI, right? And then they got rid of that
Yeah.
shit. Very much like Dune,
Yeah,
right?
I think that was before the Great Crusade though. That was like during the Age of Strife because you had the Men of Iron. I think they were called like the big war on Mars during the Age of Strife. That was one of the things where they were like, no more thinking machines.
Yeah, right. The Emperor's whole thing is to keep the fucking gate shut, right? Like that's like, but it didn't always have to be that way. So like shit went down.
Yeah, because I do remember a big plot point in the Siege of Terra being that like
Gross.
the Emperor
Yeah.
had this secret plan to create like physical entries into the webway. And they were like, our next thing is we're going to take the web, we're going to conquer the webway. It's going to become ours. So it's the only safe way to travel faster than light across the galaxy without going into the warp, you know? And then that got all fucked up.
Didn't the Airmon have something to do with that?
Uh, I think part of it was Magnus because he like fucked up
Shouldn't have
something
fucked Magnus over.
because like during this like leading up to the Siege of Terra, there was this like secret war in the webway where that was where all of the custodian forces were going because there was like a giant
Oh yeah. Trying to stabilize the
um
webway.
yeah, there was like these giant facilities underground of the palace where they had built all of these like all this crazy machinery to have like physical gates into the webway. And they made them like its scale is so large because like the doors were large enough for like a warlord titan to stride through because they were like, we're gonna conquer the webway. It's gonna become humanities. And then like something fucked it up. I think it was Magnus's whole
It was
deal
Magnus mostly.
and then like demons started getting through there. And so like the reason that the custodians weren't really present much during the Siege of Terra is because like all of their forces were dedicated and then slowly depleted on that war in the webway.
So it looks like the Astronomicon existed. Uh, it was just weekend when he was, doing the stuff in the webway there. And
Oh,
now, of
Kara Quinn says
course,
Magnus sent the sacred. So wait, Magnus fucked it up. So when Magnus
yeah,
sent the
he
second
broke
message,
the words.
it blew out the gate. Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a mistake. I don't know if you needed to execute his whole planet for that. I don't think he was intending to do that.
Sort of like this one thing he was just trying to like do the whole time, and then Magnus effed it up, so he got mad. I mean, I get it.
How I like this. How do different Space Marine chapters reflect Imperium's core values and flaws?
Hmm.
Some of them don't want to be told what to do.
Yeah, so I mean, like, it all kind of depends, right? It really, really runs the gamut. And the way that Space Marines are set up as a vehicle for people to like get into and play the game or like invest themselves in the world, like you can make up whatever you want about Space Marine chapters, but like you've got an example like the Ultramarines that are kind of like the shining example of what like the pinnacle of like discipline, integrity, honor, um like the Codex Astartes, all like you have the worlds of Ultramar that are kind of a reflection of that. So it's sort of like this is kind of like the best of what the Imperium could be. And then you have stuff all the way on the other side of the spectrum where I mean like there's stuff like the Mortifactors. I think they're like a bone cult and do super weird shit. I think they're in one of the Ultramarines books where
I think if you stick to just like the basics, right, the big guys. You think of like Ultramarines, you think of Dark Angels, and you think of Space Wolves, right?
yeah,
You've got
Black
like
Templars.
like if you think of these three specifically, you've got one group. It's like absolutely like fucking everyone lies to everyone. We're
Yep.
ashamed of everything. Like lie, 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 and only let
Yeah,
leadership know
Catholic
the
guilt.
truths.
We get
Right,
it.
right. And meanwhile, while they're doing all that, and they're all in their little feasting hall, sad, they can't celebrate anything. Space Wolves are in their fucking feasting hall, raucous, laughing,
Drinking
drinking,
beer.
knocking them back. You know what I mean? And then you got Space, the Ultramarines, which are like combine all like they can have fun, but also they're super honor bound. You know what I mean? They've got leadership roles, they've got fucking everything in between. And I think those three have always like I think that like in real life that you see that everywhere. Those three kind of core concepts. But I think that is essentially the personality of the Imperium. You know what I mean? I think all three of those big three represent, you know, the whole Imperium, right? You've got your rule breakers, your rule followers, and your fucking conspirators. You know what I mean? And then with
Hmm.
different flavors based on that throughout. You know,
Yeah, makes sense.
but Space Marine slap. That's what I like about Space Marine because they're all modeled after something. You know,
Yeah, I mean, it's just like everybody has their favorite, their team, their pick. The core, some have better core values than others. Some are just like, hey, we're good at tinkering.
and
We're good at building
and that's
walls.
the question: what parallels can be drawn between the Imperium's history and the real world empires? And you already
So
mentioned,
I
many.
mean, a lot,
yeah,
right?
that's like the whole thing.
Uh, and because it's like they also coded the Space Marines based off of like regions and ethnicities and cultures on old Earth, right? But I mean, like Ultramarines is a great example. It's like the golden era of the Roman Republic, the height of their power, right? Then you've got stuff like the Black Templars, which is like the Crusades, like the darkest medieval times of the Catholic Church and all
Yep.
the stuff that went along with that. There's a lot that could be drawn.
They're all
White
baddies in their own
white
way.
scars are straight up Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
I
Like
think I think at one point they said that that wasn't the case. They were more like Eastern European,
the
like kind
white
of.
scars.
I mean,
Literally,
the dude's name is
Yeah, I
Jagtai
know.
the
Khan.
I know,
guy's name
right?
is
I
Khan.
feel like
I
They're
there might be
know.
some
they're
some
obviously
backtracking.
like Chinese, right? Like in their culture, like in that region,
Yeah, like
they are on
it's pretty clear.
bikes, which the Mongolians were horseback riders. Like literally, it's just straight. I mean,
I wonder.
think
So I wonder
I
if
mean,
we
it's
like put our tinfoil hats on a little bit. I wonder if them changing the kind of overtly like Mongolian and Chinese racial stuff about the white scars has to do with them opening the market to China. And maybe
perhaps.
well,
China was like, we don't like that.
I
I
think
mean,
they're cleaning it
maybe.
up. I mean, look at how many Imperial Guard stuff they just got rid of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I
cause
mean, Attila the Hun was not Asian at all.
no. But the thing is, I think they are. But this guy's name isn't the Hun. This guy's name is Khan.
Right. But
But
when
they're
you think
cleaning it
of
up.
the Mongols, you think of Attila the Hun, which is
I think no.
not
I think of
a
Genghis Khan.
Mongol. Well, yeah, I mean everybody thinks of Genghis Khan, but or
Kublai Khan.
Kublai, yeah,
No,
and
but like,
Attila the
they're
Hun's the
probably cleaning it
third.
up as they give them their own lore as they move forward. Because these guys used
Yeah.
to just be stereotypes. Like all these legions used to be Viking
Oh man,
Marines,
don't let's not get started about the Dark Angels.
right? Oh, Dark Angels is based off of a famous poem.
They are based off of a famous
Yeah,
poem.
it's wild. I mean, I mean, you could draw real life parallels because they exist. They're literally there. Like, and so
Yeah.
the longer the game has existed, the longer the lore has existed, the more they've actually fleshed out, like, and given them their own personality. Like, I hardly even think of Space Wolves as Space Vikings anymore. You know what I mean? Like, they definitely used to be straight up Space Vikings, but now they're not at all. Like, they're straight up Space Wolves. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even see that in my mind anymore. So they've done a good job with that.
Well, yeah, I mean, what's his face did a really good job of that as he explained to
Yeah, Dan Abnett.
Wyatt. Yeah, Abnett. I don't know why, but I get him and McNeil mixed up sometimes. I don't know why. It's like it's impossible, but I'd still do it. The yeah, so there. I mean, everything's changing. I mean, look at initial 40K. It was like completely different from what it even was in second
Oh
edition.
yeah, I mean, like, look at the codex that I have behind me right there. Like, you want to pull that?
Yeah,
That dude's got like a ponytail and all
you could
sorts of
have.
crazy shit. He's got
I mean, there
earrings.
was everybody had everybody else's weapons, and there was like beastmen, and there was robots, and it was cool.
Truly the best time. It
Yeah,
was.
there was so much like rando stuff. You wanted to do it, you could do it. There was
Well,
no, there was, but you know, it.
I mean, like, I'll get up on my soapbox. Like, make 40K silly again. It
I
was
love
so
it.
much better when it was silly.
I mean, you can still make it silly. Like you could still
That's what I do.
maybe not play in a tournament, but you can theme an army any way you want with whatever.
Who?
That's the beauty of it.
All right, let's do two more.
Okay.
Who do you think the most misunderstood character in Imperium's history is?
Misunderstood. I
Mm.
mean, you could definitely put Magnus on that list. I don't know where.
I
Hmm.
mean, yeah, and the good guy in the Imperium's history. I mean, is it not Horus?
No, I think we understand
No,
him
he
pretty good.
changed.
He's not misunderstood at all. We just understand him. I mean, you're right. We actually understand it. It's very
Like,
clear.
Yeah,
I
like
think,
there was a line, and then
No, he chose.
things
We
changed.
know his. We know his. We know what he was getting at. We actually understand it very well. You're right. It's not
yeah.
Horus.
Um.
I'd say like if you interpret the question based on like the like fandom's understanding of characters in the lore, there's a lot of good examples within the Primarchs. Um because there's so much like trying to think of like the right way to describe it. Like there's so much of like every fan's like kind of personal thinking on things, like the way that they kind of like have a like an imagined way that the 40K lore is, and they kind of imprint some of their own beliefs on that. So it's like if you're an Imperial Fists player, uh I'm sure that every single one of us has been in a room,
Good
somebody
answer.
that like the Black
I
Templars and
see
Imperial
where you're
Fists, they're
going.
like the Codex is dumb,
Yeah.
you know, we don't follow the Codex. Like Dorn was like, the Codex is stupid, you're stupid, we're gonna do our own thing. I'm like, that, I mean, we have the as close to what canon can be, and like that wasn't the case. So I mean, like, I think you could say that like the Primarchs are kind of
It's
misunderstood
a
from that
personal,
perspective.
it's a very personal question that everyone has a different answer for because of what you relate to specifically in this hobby, because they're all kind of misunderstood.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could even. I mean, you could put Aramon on the
Yep.
list because he was just trying to make
I
shit
put
right in
honestly,
some
I
ways.
put Angron and Mortarion high on the list.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you could put them on the list.
Like more
Thaddeus
like
Bile.
Angron, he's insane, dude. And he was driven over the edge because of his fucking like brethren being allowed to die without him. Like
Yeah.
Yes.
he wanted to
So I
like
mean,
die
like,
with his comrades, dude. Like, and it's like,
I don't even
bro,
know if that means he's misunderstood, right? Like, I think his motivations are pretty one dimensional. Like, they're really clear.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe
but
Angron's.
not to someone in the Imperium today. That's what I'm saying. It's
oh, okay. So that's
like
how you're friend. Got you. Okay.
he's like straight up the incarnate of like death and mayhem and murder. And it's like if you only knew that his like whole thing was just to like dig his own grave with his fucking guys he fought with his whole life, and he was gonna just die with them that day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to go
Right.
from that to like this boogeyman, like you would never know that is like someone in the Imperium, you know? Like so they're all kind of like that, you know what I mean? Like they all kind of have something like that. The lion has something like that, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very personal. I like White's take on it. It's like just really gonna come down to like what got you into it and what you read about and how you relate to it and how you would answer that
Yeah,
question.
I could definitely see that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Mortarion, like exactly like Rottweiler's like Mortarion was kind of bullied back in the day, and like his rise to power on his homeland and everything. Like they're all kind of, you know, a lot of them are pretty. Like I will say, like make 40k goofy again. I'm with you, Wyatt. But and the Horus Heresy, I think, kind of fucked that up. But
Yeah. I
but
mean, kind of
simultaneously, there's some good, great moments in the Horus Heresy novels.
there is like no doubt, right? And I was
Mm-hmm.
might be a little bit of a hot take here, but like I kind of view the Horus Heresy the same way that a lot of people view like the prequel trilogy of Star Wars, where it's like I think the story was better when we didn't know every single little detail.
Mhm.
I think having all of that out there and published and canonized in some ways ruins the mythology of that era of time, because that's what like that's all we knew about it in 40k. Like even in more modern stuff right before the Horus Heresy books came out, they would reference that stuff as like legends and
Mhm.
myths, and it's like
Yep.
that was why it was
Codexes were
cool.
kind of like propaganda from the perspective of the army you were playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And so like when they started doing all the Horus Heresy stuff, and it was like, well, this is how this went down and this and that, and like all these like little tidbits of information that's just adding to this like kludge that is the canonization of 40k. It kind of like dispelled the mystery, which
Mhm.
is what made it cool.
I agree. That's a good note to end it on. End the subject on. I don't,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yes.
that's the first time we've ever sat down and talked a little bit about lore. Like we've never done that before. So that's wild. We have one Q&A. Can we finally get real shots of Rob's lizard life for 2025? It's our one Q&A.
Lizard life.
He's living his terrarium. You want to see his terrarium?
This is my
That's you're
terrarium.
looking at it, dude.
I think it
Yeah,
would be so
I
funny.
got a fireplace right there. I got a humidifier going in the other room. I got my ceiling fan, my enrichment activities. You know.
I think it would be so funny if Rob started like a separate Instagram account that's just pictures of lizards photoshopped into his living room.
I
Like,
do
hey,
got
yeah,
lizards
doing some
living on,
hobby stuff right now, and it's just like an iguana, like badly photoshopped onto his desk.
just chilling. No, there are lizards here though. They're right off the
I
porch.
remember North
They're
Carolina.
chilling.
Yeah. So
Um,
we'll be at LVO this weekend. Rob will be you have boots on the ground journalism, right? Don't you have like
yeah,
Felix or
well
somebody out there?
yeah, so we'll have a team there. They'll be taking pictures. Also, I think they're going around to the ITC tracker, like the folks that are there on that,
Yeah, for the
and
hobby.
taking videos of hobby. So if you got a dope painted army and want to get a video of it for up on the site, flag one of them down, and
Yeah. You'll see them.
we'll get you on there.
Simultaneously, Long War Doubles will be on Sunday. Wyatt, myself, Arthur will be there running
Yep.
that. Come by, say hi. We've already got a couple people who are, you know, coming over who don't have partners. We might be able to link some people up.
Some
So
Lucy's, so to
we
speak.
got Lucy's. I love that term for this. So
Oh, Adepticon too.
did we
We
sell out already?
I think we are sold out.
Oh yeah,
Monday
they
morning
still
we
have
only
quick
had
check.
four tickets left, but then I started getting emails about waitlist stuff. I think they're gonna add more spots, but they haven't let me know yet. So
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll find out. Yeah. So any
yep.
Lucy's, come see us on Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
8:30 a.m. sharp.
Also, if you don't have a partner, you can get in the Long War Discord. There's 2 channels dedicated to the Long War doubles, like questions and general discussion. That's a great way to be like, hey, I need a buddy. Like, does somebody else need a buddy? Like, let's link up, because you have, until March. So if you get in the Discord and get that conversation going, you might be able to find somebody to be your partner, and then you can actually like have some time to be like, let's do a theme or coordinate a little bit.
Yeah, good point. So looking forward to LVO this weekend. Come by, say hi. We'll be back on the air at a regular scheduled time. Keep your eye on spikybits.com for all the cool ass fucking boots on the ground coverage. And I think that's it, guys. So Wyatt, do you want to take us out of here?
He's not even saying anything. He's just like,
Oh, he muted
I'm
himself.
muted. Rob, yeah.
do
Do the thing. Do the thing.
Do the thing.
It was so
Do the
good
thing.
when you just looked at us and just stared at us. I was like, oh, it's so good.
It's just like blank blinking. So that's it for this one, y'all. Thanks for watching. We'll see everybody this weekend at LVO, of course, because I'll be there, flying out tomorrow.
Mhm.
For exclusive content, early access videos, and more, head on over to thelongwar.net and become a veteran of the Long War today. P.S. We might actually have a working Q&A next week. Who knows? Me and Kenny got to connect some tubes.
Look
That's
at that.
right.